you are playing a game that I think as soon as I sent you the code for it or the message about it, you're like, wow, this is a Sri ass game. And so, being Sri, I'm very curious about how Sri ass game is this. Blockbuster Inc. Nick, well, first of all,
Sure.
what is Blockbuster Inc.?
So, Blockbuster Inc., I would most, closely describe as like it's kind of like a Sims-like game. Essentially, you are creating this movie studio, and you are controlling various aspects of movie production, and building departments, building up different like faculties, different sets, and things like that.
Right.
And you're trying to make a successful movie studio, more or less. Um, you're not really, my Sims analogy here. It's not like you're controlling like a set group of people
Right.
more than you. It's a very like systems heavy kind of game. So there's a lot
Oh,
of
okay.
different, you know, basically like movies. You need your
So,
producers, you need your writers, you need a director, you need actors, you need all these different peoples. They all need different, rooms and offices essentially to get their job done. You need to fund the movie.
wow.
You know, you can run out of money and then you need to start taking loans. Actors can, require special accommodations if they want to join your production. You set the work schedule and like when people eat and when people go home. Uh, there's a
Wow.
lot of like systems under the
That's
hood. Uh,
oh, okay. So here I'm just watching the gameplay and what like so do you edit the movie yourself or like is do you like because I saw there was like a momentary clip of like someone dragging a audio files and stuff like that on like, what
yeah. So that was something that I was curious about when starting it also, because I feel like this type of game has been attempted before, like, control all aspects of your, movie production and stuff. And you can. So you can get even to
oh
the
I see
point where like when you are in the process of filming, because like you have to, set all the parameters for your movie and then it starts in production and you can like fast forward through the timeline
right
and watch like, all the little AI people make the movie. You can go down into like the camera view on the stage and manipulate the camera angle. You can,
wow
I believe, manipulate the lights. You can add new props and stuff. You can manipulate the shot in that way, and then once all the filming is done, or like while it's being done, you
uh-huh
can open up an editor and like you saw in the gameplay, you can drag like sound files, you can,
wow
drag all like little stuff. It's not like a comprehensive like movie making thing. Like
sure sure
it's, the shot that I'm describing, it might just be a person going like, yeah, 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 like that
yeah they're
kind of
not
a
like
thing.
it's not
Like
Daniel Day-Lewis is out there like delivering you're like oh let me get this angle here yeah I see what you're saying
exactly. Like they let you tinker around with it, but it's not like a, replacement for
sure
making a movie by any means. But it is a fun novelty that they let you do that because I feel like that is something that like, you know, when you're playing a game like this, it's like, yeah, I want to see the movie that the studio makes, right? Like,
yeah
um, basically, whenever you release it, like you can choose to name the title or you can just have it give you like a generated title and whatever. And once the movie's finished, it'll flash up a like a newspaper with
with the
critic reviews
scores yeah
on
sure
it.
sure see
And they're
I mean it
like,
feels like a more kind of I don't know if you've ever played it back in the day. I played the crap out of it, but it was Game Dev Tycoon. It reminds me of like a more kind of like nitty
yes,
gritty Game Dev Tycoon.
a tycoon game would be a close comparison.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, like, you're placing down these individual rooms and something that like I messed around with a little bit. I should mention at this point before I go forward
Yeah.
that these are not my usual wheelhouse
Sure.
games.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I've like dabbled with these, but the super kind of systems heavy sort of building out your empire thing is not something that I usually play. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
take what I say with the new perspective, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but like basically these rooms you can zoom in and move around your lot, and you can zoom in really close inside the rooms, and you can even customize like the walls and the floor. They have like different like tile options and stuff like that. So
Right.
if you're really into customizing your look down to like every detail,
Yeah.
like you can really kind of get in nitty gritty and like change a lot of stuff and really set it up how you want, in
Uh-huh.
addition to putting like whatever rooms you want together and all that. What it unfortunately devolved into for me was I tried really hard on my first little group of buildings, and then I was like, oh, I want to make another movie at the same time, so let me just place like four producers and five writers over on the other side, not connecting any of them, not customizing any of them, just so I could hire the people to be able to
So
start
so
another
do you
movie,
now
right?
like sympathize more with Disney and having been in this, having now like have this power? You've tasted it now.
It, maybe all my movies didn't score above a 50, so
You start.
uh,
Were you trying to start an MCU? Like, what was going on? What was your plan? What was your game plan?
I was trying vampire movies, I was trying comedies, I was trying romance. I couldn't crack the critics,
Oh
unfortunately.
wow, wow.
They just weren't really having it. But yeah, it's if you're into, like you mentioned, like a tycoon style games, and you are looking for one that is, in the realm of, film and film history, I think it might be an interesting game to pick up. It does have like a time frame mechanic where it's like you can set what era your studio starts in.
Oh,
So
okay.
like you could start in like the 1920s and it went all the
No
way up to the
sound.
2010s. Yeah,
Sure,
like black and
sure.
white cameras,
Right,
all
right,
that
right.
sort of stuff.
The
You can
simpler time.
choose which decade to do it in. Whenever I did test this a little bit, I started in the 1940s, and then when I was playing earlier today, I started a new game in the 1980s. And there's these little generated like scenarios that'll happen. Um, like basically,
Like world
just
events type
as
of
an
thing. Oh yeah,
kind of like
give me an example. Yeah, go ahead.
basically the example I would give is when you're starting like the film, like a couple days into filming, like an actor will approach you and be like, "Hey, this rival studio is offering me more. Can you match like their salary or whatever?"
Oh, I
And then you have
see.
like a little option to choose. The thing that was a little bit disappointing was that it was giving me the same scenarios in the same order, regardless of if I was in the 40s or the 80s. Like it was always like the actor
Oh, I
would come
see.
up first. It was always like the studio got robbed, like up next, and like equipment is gone, that sort of thing.
That's
So
unfortunate. So it's not like our random, like randomly generated every playthrough.
yeah, that's what I thought it was going forward. But then yeah, with my new game today, like it was like the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
five or six scenarios that I hit from the other one.
Well,
But like it does give you like a little bit of like, decision making here and there.
yeah.
It's not like crazy, but it has little flavor things like that. And like if you're in the 40s, like you can see like a very small section of road outside of your studio lot. And so like you'll see like period correct cars driving on the street and
Oh,
stuff.
that's a nice
So
touch.
there's little attentions to detail like that. But definitely the bulk of the gameplay is like looking at a lot of menus, like managing a lot of things, like, you know, what type of projects you're working on, managing people's happiness levels, making sure that you have the proper
Right.
facilities to facilitate everything. And then, like we mentioned with like the cameras and the editing, there's like the little, like, sweet moments in here where you can play around a little bit. But it's definitely like a management tycoon type of
Sure.
experience.
Well, I mean, overall though, like, I mean, like, what's your kind of takeaway, first impressions after the first few hours with the game?
Yeah, it's like I said before, it's if you're into them, I think you'll like it.
Sure.
If you're like me and it's not something that's in your normal wheelhouse, it might be a little bit dense and hard to break through.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of the menu management and stuff like that. Basically, for me, the thing that's the hardest thing to parse is like what information is truly important for me in this one moment versus like a more minor detail that like I can kind of ignore
Mm-hmm.
and pull back into whenever it's necessary. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of like a lot of information at once that you're trying to sift through. So it's a little bit dense in that way. But like I said, like if you're used to tycoon stuff, like Roller Coaster Tycoon, that sort of thing, and you love managing these type of things, definitely give it a check and see if it'd be something that you're interested in.